Hey, so if you're having issues with regards to creating content and building a content calendar so that you can fully understand exactly how your content is going to come out from a day to day, topic to topic sort of flow, then this is the right video for you. The number one thing that I've heard recently, and it came in two questions in my Skool community. The first one was, how is it that I establish a content calendar? And I'll show you that as a part of this process. I'll show you the content calendar process. But then the second part of this is like, how do I build 30 days worth of content in 30 minutes? So the whole idea here is to leverage AI, have it, learn a little bit about your business. And there's a prompt that goes along with this. If you're watching this on YouTube, please join my free Skool community. The link for that will be under this video. And then secondly, if you're inside the Skool community, please engage with that prompt that I post, but also let me know how things go. How did the content calendar turn out for you? And how are the images and posts, and are they matching, what it is that you're looking for? So the thing that I built out here was a prompt that really helps you build almost like a spreadsheet view, let's say, of content so you could really understand how content comes together. But before we really hop into that, one of the things that I wanted to just show you really quickly is the following. So if we come over here and we go to Excalidraw, let's just draw out how this works. So the way that I essentially think about content is, when I think about content, is what is my ICP? So who is my ideal client? And am I targeting the right person with my content? So this is the starting point. Secondly, I want to really think about that ideal buyer journey, right? Is the ideal buyer journey and having that in mind is something that I need to have as a part of my content? If your answer is yes, then this is the right way to focus your content. So, ideal client journey. And as you think about that, I want you to think about like top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel, right? So, this will be like educational at the top of funnel, middle funnel will be helping people really decide, are you the right solution for them and their particular issues? And then at the bottom of the funnel, really having ways for people to engage with you. I started with one of those ways just a second ago by saying, hey, look, if you're not in my free Skool community, this is how you get in, right? So that people that want to engage with you can find you, they can associate with your content and really start to work through, how is it that I get engaged with this particular individual? It's a free Skool community. It's a pretty easy door in. If you don't have a free Skool community, I would encourage you then to think about, how do I develop like a micro magnet or a way for people to have a thing that they go to that then they can engage with you through that level of free path in. You're giving them that clearance to get past the very first thing. And so you want to think about, how is it that I have an easy way in, an easy path for people to come into my content, my community, whatever that thing is. It should be as low a barrier as possible. And by that, I'm not meaning always free and open and, just no barrier to entry. You want to eventually get people's email addresses and be able to engage with them. But realistically, like if you have like an offer doc, so a lot of my videos will have like, hey, if you want this free offer doc and how to think about it, here's how to go get it. You either get it through, being able to just click on a link and it's a free Google Doc and there's just a link to it, right? I mean, there are certainly things where I don't have anything. The only thing that I typically do in those cases is I include like a trackable link so that I know how many people have downloaded the thing, how many people are engaging with it, so that at least I know, is this providing value or is it not? Otherwise, you sort of are sitting in this vacuum. And I could show you how I create those as well as part of this video. There's lots of other ways to do it other than the way that I do it. But I like to think about this sort of content journey as a way that people are going through, but they're starting maybe from, hey, I don't know you. Why would I give you my email address? It could be, as easy as that whenever they're thinking about, engaging with you. And you want to make it easy enough that people go, oh, yeah, I should definitely do this because, this person's made it easy enough for me. And I think I'm going to get value, right? That's the other side of this that I don't think a lot of people think about is, what is the value that you're offering as a part of this, as well. And that's the part that I think a lot of people are just like, hey, nobody's downloading my thing, or nobody's, engaging with me. Well, maybe you're just not offering the right thing yet. But on the client side, in terms of creating content and the content process, we want to go from who's the ideal client, think about that. We want to have a process where we're thinking about where things are, top of funnel, middle funnel, or bottom of funnel. And then once people are in that sort of initial sphere, we want to sort of think about the next steps for them, right? How do we get them into the next piece of this as well? So, the next piece from my perspective is that we need to be thinking about the topics that most engage those people, right? So, over here, we're going to add in like the topics for the posts. Okay. So, we create the topics for the post as the next part of this. The other thing that I like to just insert for all of my clients is voice. And so up here, I would say, what is your voice? I think a lot of people overthink this in terms of the ways that you're going to create your voice today. But like one way for me to do it would be take the transcript of this video, put it into AI and say, create a voice capability, voice skill, create a file that I can use every time that I want to create social media posts that will give me my voice, etc. So those are all the ways. And then figure out how are you going to save that? How are you going to leverage that skill each time, right? So that you're not getting into the situation where you're just not able to, call it out on a routine basis. So you want to have this voice skill or whatever handy so that then whenever you're getting ready to create your topics, it's pretty easy to get that to follow along, right? So I got my voice here. I'm going to come back and I'm going to add another box now. So there are a series of things that go into a post. And this is, again, for anybody that's created social media content before, this will be right in line with what you think about, but there's a hook. So I started with it for this video. Hey, look, if you're looking to create content for your business and you're trying to create things that really resonate with your clients, this video is for you. That's a hook. Another hook could be, hey, if you're looking to solve X problem in X amount of time, this video is for you, or this post is for you, or this article's for you. All of that sort of relates to what a hook actually is. Then the next part is you need the main part of the content to be there, right? So you got to create like, the content body, I guess you could call it. So let's just say that. Once we have these two pieces, we have what we need for the majority of the post itself. So the way I kind of think about the last part is how do people engage with you if they want to move forward? Maybe they see something that really resonates. So you need to include that call to action, is what it's called, the CTA at the bottom. And oftentimes, I would tell you if you're posting on LinkedIn, having the CTA as a part of the main post is probably not a good idea. You probably want it as a follow on comment, right? That's not how I've structured things here. You're going to see that the CTA as a part of the main body, but it's an easy adjustment that pretty much anybody could include. Before I post all of this stuff back to the Skool Community, I will correct that one little thing. So the CTA winds up in a follow up comment. It's not a part of the main body of the post. Because what will happen is that you'll see it on LinkedIn when somebody posts like a video or anything like that. But if you look at this post, right, of mine, founder called last week, needed a new website. That's the hook. Budget ready, right? So they are ready to buy. And then you kind of thinking, okay, so what's the rest of this post? Well, the reality is I don't do websites. So that's kind of what this post is talking about, is that part of it that we start at the, where are you buying? Are you buying the right thing? And realistically, getting people into your funnel is the main thing for a website, not the website being the main thing. And that's the part that I think a lot of people get wrong, is that, we start from, where do you want to go, and then work our way backwards. And that you could see down here, this is the link, right? So the link here to my website comes through as a follow-up comment, not in the main body. If I include it in the main body, I could show you what happens on the other side, because I used Substack the other day. And whenever I did this with Substack, Unfortunately, the thing that happened was the Substack post came in from Substack, and it had the main body part of the post as a part of the original thing. And here it is. It's right here. So this is what that post looks like. So most of my other ones have like videos, a picture, whatever. This one, because it had this part in it, an external link included in it, this is the way that LinkedIn deprecates these. So whenever I tell people, look, when you're trying to create a post and you want that post to show up, and I want the graphic to be big, I want it to catch your attention, I want you to stop your scroll just for a second and check out what I'm showing you. The way that I do that is through creating an eye-catching image like this. That'll get deprecated. If you put a link in there, what essentially will happen is this image becomes a tiny little thumbnail, and then the text shows up right next to it. And unfortunately, most people are not going to see that. And so I just like to call it out to people that, look, if you're adamant about posting a YouTube video or whatever, what I would tell you is 100% of the time, if you've got a video, post the clip. With that clip, then take the clip and put it out there where people can find it. Because unfortunately, what'll happen is if you just post the YouTube link right into LinkedIn, it shows up as that tiny little thumbnail. Most people don't even stop for those. They just keep scrolling. And because they keep scrolling, unfortunately, you lose them as potential buyers. The other thing I like to encourage people, since I mentioned video, and I'll come back here just to show you one other, post captions. Even if they're on your face, even if they cover up part of the post, most people that are scrolling through on their mobile phone, I think it's like something like 80%. I mean, there's a really high percentage right now on LinkedIn that are on their phone. And with that, I mean, if you really want to be found, you want to make sure that you include some form of captions. Otherwise, what's going to happen again is people just aren't going to stop the scroll. They're going to keep moving. So let's come back to the topic for today. So on the social post side, right? So we want to have our ICP. We want to understand that there is a top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel with our posts. So these two are the main part of creating the understanding of the post itself. Then we want to create topics. Once that list of topics is approved, we want to add our voice. And then from there, we want to be able to add in the hook, the content body, and the call to action. The last part of this, right, is, and I mentioned it just a second ago, and this is very related as well, is that you want to add an image. So you want an image or graphic or something, video, something that goes along with your post as well, because this is what makes up the overall good structure of the image and post itself. Otherwise, you're not going to have a very good content process. And what's going to happen is you're going to post AI slop, and people are going to look at it and they're just going to keep moving and scrolling. And unfortunately, it's not going to do you any good either. And then I think the last part is that everybody should be thinking about is at what frequency. Minimum for LinkedIn, I believe, every day. And it's funny to me how many people say, no, I don't agree with that. And all of a sudden you catch them and they're posting multiple times a day. One of the very strong sort of LinkedIn voices right now, I keep getting alerts because I get alerts, for his posts. He's got to be posting 5 times a day. That same individual has told me in the past, nah, 1 time is good enough. It's not what he's posting. It's not what he's doing online. So maybe you should, like, if you want to go back to some of the main people on LinkedIn and look at them, I think I might have some of them loaded in this list here. So let me just look through the list really quickly. Let's see. Who do we have that is a very good sort of LinkedIn voice to follow? Because I mean, look, I have a fair amount of followers. I have, I don't know, 15, 16,000 followers. I have, I don't know how many actual, but I think it's something less than that. So anyway, so Vanderbloom. Let's see if I can find this guy. Richard Vanderbloom. Here he is. This guy, how many times does he post a day? Let's just have a look. He posted 14 hours ago. So 2 days ago, 1 day, or 14 hours ago, 1 day ago. So he's posting roughly once a day, maybe at this point. I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing, 14 hours, 1 day ago. So 2 times in the same day, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So 1 time a day is roughly what he's posting. And he's got like a combination of AI images in here. He's got images that maybe he posted using Canva. He's got a fair mix of what I would say are possibly AI images with his image on them, or he's using a tool like Canva maybe to create, some of these. So Richard Vanderbloom is somebody, if you want to copy that person, a person, then I would say, he's probably one of the best to copy that are out here. But I would say like find your top voices on LinkedIn, the people that you actually think are getting real movement, and copy them. I post twice a day. I post once at the beginning of the day and once at the end of the day. And occasionally I supplement that with some other stuff. So if you go back and look at my stuff, the way to tell, what did I post and did I supplement anything? So oftentimes, like, these are going to be posts that are supplements, right? So this one was a YouTube video. That video then has been reposted in terms of this actual post itself. And so, this is where that little video thumbnail came up. So if you want to know how do these things happen or how do people get seen, I would say, leverage that and make sure that, you go through and copy people that you think are getting a fair amount of traction in your space. Go to your connections and figure out who in here is actually, generating traffic. Go back to your feed and look on your feed and see who it is that consistently shows up on your feed. And so with that, that'll tell you frequency. Okay. So I'm going to come back here and I would say, so once you have the image or video, call to action, content body, hook, topics, etc., the last part of this is you need to figure out the frequency. So I'm going to add one more box up here for frequency. How often do I post? I clicked in a way that it didn't understand, so I'm fighting with the tool again. So here, frequency. All right, so once you have the frequency or how often, now you've got everything that you need. And then I think it comes back to how do I build the actual content, Don? How do I build out, the posts themselves? How do I make sure that I've got what I need to be able to actually, go create the posts so that they, really show up in terms of LinkedIn and show up for my audience. The other thing is I tell people as well, if you're going to use a social calendar and you're going to use a tool like I'm going to show you in a minute with GoHighLevel, GoHighLevel will let you load as many posts as you want in a day across however many platforms that you want. Here, if we just come back to this one is my social calendar. So you could see I've got posts all the way out to the 31st of July. These are on Facebook. And then you see it says 4 other platforms, plus four. It essentially says 4 other. So it's posting it on Facebook twice, Instagram twice, Threads. I don't remember who else, LinkedIn. So there we go. So it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So there you go. And these are the posts themselves. This is how they're going to look on the platforms whenever they come out. And again, I mean, these have a follow-up comment already aligned with them. This is using a bigger tool than what I'm going to show you. But I mean, back in the day, right? So I remember my wife and I were on vacation. We're finishing our vacation in Hawaii. It was about ready to change months or whatever. We were watching the Super Bowl. I had my laptop in my lap. I had a spreadsheet that essentially had all the posts on them. And then what I did was I would load the content body, I would load the follow up comment, and then I would load the image for the post. And I'd go back and I'd do the same thing over and over again. The tool that I was using at that point in time, not to just independently promote them, but was called Social Bees. So let me look them up. And Social Bees, I mean, it was awesome. It allowed me to, you know, post across multiple platforms. This is not an endorsement necessarily specifically for them. I mean, like I said, I use GoHighLevel. You could do this inside of GoHighLevel today. But Social Bee allowed you to like schedule content and get things out there where people can find it. Like I said, I'm going to walk through an actual demo of what it looks like in GoHighLevel here in just a little bit. But you could see here's all the things that they have. And primarily, I just used their social planner. That was it. I used it for content creation and I got my scheduling and publishing done. So is this part of it that I used. I didn't use integrations. I didn't do anything with anything else. And I tracked my performance of my posts through this tool. It's a great tool. I can't discount it. It did a great job. And you could certainly do what I'm about to show you with that tool. I would highly encourage anybody that's looking, though, take a really strong look at high level, whether it's with me or somebody else. The reason why is because high level collects your contacts. It makes sure that you've got ways to send out emails. It has ways that you can really process through whatever your list is of connections, and that's really what this is about, because the content should generate activity. That activity, then you want to be able to track. That tracking then hopefully leads to eventually having a lead in your funnel. Once they're in your funnel, you continue to process them through the funnel until they actually turn into business for you. That's the goal of all of this. It's not to just do it for the sake of posting. And I think, again, like, people get this wrong. And I've had actual clients say this, hey, look, I had a post that generated 80,000 impressions. Okay, did it actually turn into business for you? Well, no, but 80,000 was exciting. Okay, but the goal is business, right? So, I mean, in the B2B realm, we're not looking to go viral. I'm not following the same trends that YouTubers are. I don't do any of that stuff. And it's because of the fact that at the end of the day, who you are as a buyer is different than who somebody would be that is maybe following the trends. And this is where I think people get it wrong. And I've been on calls and had disagreements with people that I consider major YouTubers. And it's funny because then people afterwards have followed up with me and said, man, you made a really good point in that call, that my goal isn't to go viral. My goal is to, really build things that people engage in, that want my business, that want to buy from me. And that's the end goal that I think people frequently get wrong. And I would like to just sort of correct that stance, that look, the goal at the end of the day really isn't that level of trying to engage people and get traffic. I want the people that engage with my content to be people that want to buy the things that I offer. We build growth operating systems. If you're interested in websites, as I said before, I'm not the right guy. And I think there are some great companies that are out there that are building websites. And yeah, I mean, if you want a great website, they're probably great people I could refer you to. So I came to ChatGPT and have loaded ChatGPT up here. So for anybody that's watching this later, that's essentially where I'm at. And I just loaded the prompt in here that I created. Like I said, this will be in my free Skool community. For anybody that wants it later, you can grab it there. So you can see it starts off with, what is the company name? I'm going to use my company as an example here and kind of step through this. So we're D3 Digital Media. I have my ICP loaded, by the way. So whenever it asks for, like, who am I targeting or whatever, I'm going to just fire off my ICP. So the website is https://D3. Didn't add the forward slashes in there, so I should make sure I got those. There we go. And then I think one of the very next questions, primary offer or service. So we offer growth operating systems for businesses in the B2B space that are focused in on helping clients with services of their own. And so we help them build out a way to attract the right buyer through content. We help them build out ways to capture leads through lead magnets and micro magnets and things like that. We also help them build tools so that they can help to turn a cold connection into a warm connection as well. So that really helped. This one is structured. Unfortunately, I had this tool set to email, so that's why it did what it did there. Structured it as an email, and that's really not what I wanted, but I think the AI will get what it needs. From now on, I'll use the inherent dictate button in here. Who's the ideal buyer or ICP? Like I said, I have my ICP loaded. There you go. And then up next, it comes back with some questions about the struggles that or pains that people are having. And so for my clients, it's a little different, I know, than most businesses, but let me sort of, again, focus in on mine. The issues that my clients are normally facing is that they have a lack of visibility. They're just not being seen online. Maybe they're posting once a week, or they're doing different things to try and be seen. And for whatever reason, they're not capturing the attention of their ideal client. And then in addition to that, they probably have a shortage of leads. So they're really struggling in terms of capturing attention to get leads and really demonstrate for people the services that they can offer. On the other side, just having their ideal buyer in their funnel and being able to work that ideal buyer through the funnel is very important to my ICP as well. After it goes through all of this, it's going to come up with what are the topics as well. So, what are the desired outcomes? What does that buyer want most? Most of all, they want leads in the funnel. They want new business to be happening. They don't want to be struggling with just finding people through referrals. They want to also be able to find people organically, I would say. I don't do paid ads. So, one of the things that my clients oftentimes are looking to do is to build an organic audience of their own so that they can really attract that ideal buyer organically on a regular basis so that whenever they look around, their business is continually growing. I messed up in the middle, so let me see if I could find most of all, they want leads here. I don't do paid ads here. Delete that, turn that over because this will help it. I mean, one of the things that I say oftentimes with content, right? So, and this kind of goes back to where this thing is leading and why I phrase things the way I did a second ago. And you saw it in my one post. I don't do websites. I also do paid ads. So, I mean, if you need either of those things, there are probably other people I can refer you to. I play a little bit with paid ads myself. I mean, there are certainly times whenever I say, look, let's set aside like a small budget and go try this in terms of paid ads or whatever. And we get some traction from it. But organic is really my primary means of getting most things. And occasionally it's only because there's a limited amount of time. The number one thing I tell people all the time is look, if you're on page 15 on Google, the easiest way to get on page one is go buy a Google ad. It may not get you always on page one, but it'll put you in front of your ideal buyer a lot of the time. And so, look, if that's the struggle, is hey, look, you have a really low performing website, low performing organic capability, you could possibly buy it. The issue becomes that the more that you buy ads, if that's your only source of attracting people in, you have to continue to buy ads to get those people in. So that's one reason why, oftentimes, tell people, building an organic pipeline is a good way to invest in yourself because it's never going to go away unless you make some drastic change that all of a sudden disconnects you from your buyer. That organic pipeline is going to be there forever. Tone of voice. So let's make it be founder led. And here you could actually say, hey, instead of using these tones, I want you to actually read my voice file. I don't have anything loaded here. I would put it in. So I like founder led, bold, direct could be the same, but I'm going to say conversational, no fluff or another style. So I'm going to leave it at those three and let's see what happens. So here we go. For example, LinkedIn only. I'm going to say LinkedIn and the Instagram. And this will help to shape the posts so that they are ones that could be posted cross-platform. That's the main reason why I structured the prompt this way. The date to start the calendar, let's do 7/7/2026. And that is the date of this recording. So, might get people more interested in that. And what posting frequency should I use? Let's do one per day. In this case, I mean, if you're going to do the minimum, I would say go ahead. But the other thing I would challenge you with is make sure that if you're posting once a day, that you know when that post comes out. So in this case, I'm going to say 8 a.m. And so it's going to set the calendar up. You'll see this. And the way that this sheet will be structured is so that I could directly load it into GoHighLevel so that I don't have to do anything else. Let's see. Let's have the CTA be text expander. Grab that and expanded that out to an actual link. So it's a link to my free Skool community to get people to come visit us here and hopefully engage with the opportunity here. So any existing offers, lead magnets, whatever. I mean, you could certainly rotate it. You could say, hey, look, I would like for it to be my free Skool community. But if you know anything about the way this process works, right? Some of us will engage based on different offers that we see from the people that we're following. So, like one day, if you say, hey, look, I've got a visibility lead magnet, it's a free GPT. If you get that, it essentially help you do XYZ. If you instead, go through and join my free Skool community, that will get you another thing. So, I mean, by having these different levels, what I'm doing overall is trying to provide a different on ramp for people to engage, because the reality is we typically don't engage with people on a straight line, right? It's sort of, I may see you one day in my feed, the next day I don't see you. So, I mean, there's different reasons why people will engage with different things. And I think the opportunity here is to have different levels of things. So, here's the ideal buyer summary. It sort of talks about what people care about. The D3 Media ideal buyer is a growth minded B2B company with real expertise, real business value, and underpowered digital presence. These companies are not looking for random marketing activity. They want a strategic partner who can help them build visibility, authority, and lead generation, long term positioning. And then down here are the pain points. They're not being seen consistently online. They rely too heavily on referrals. They have a weak organic lead flow. These are all the things that I kind of uncovered whenever I said that earlier. Desired outcomes, more qualified leads, less dependence on referrals, etc. Common mistakes, believing positioning once a week is enough to build marketing visibility. It's not. If you don't show up in my feed today, I guarantee the fact that you didn't post tomorrow and the next day, that's the reason why I'm not seeing you. Thinking the problem is only the algorithm. That is a big one, because people ask me all the time, hey, do you know? No, I don't know the algorithm. And frankly, I mean, the things I do work, I don't really worry about what the algorithm is. I mean, if you've seen any of my posts, I've posted like this idea of AI slop, and people getting to the point of like AI slop being thrown out there all over the place. I agree. I mean, LinkedIn should be filtering out AI slop. When you look at what gets created here in a minute, it's far from it. It's aligned to my buyer. It's dealing with pains that they see. It's providing some level of value, trying to engage with them at a level that they're at. Yeah, it's just not what people are defining as AI slop, where you're just pumping out content to try and get ahead of the algorithm, which I think is totally wrong. Top of funnel topics. So this is what I was saying back here whenever I talked about the top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. Now, if I were to load this into a content calendar, I'm going to load it differently than what you're going to see come through, but it's important that you sort of understand these topics. So, and this would be tailored for your business with this prompt. I want to be clear, like my topics are not going to be yours. So, you need to run this for your business and load it for your business. Don't use what I have. That's not the purpose of this video. It's to show you what the prompt will do and then have you go run it on your business. So, why are your best buyers not seeing you online? Why your ideal buyer scrolls past your posts? All these things are things that would sort of agitate, the idea that, hey, look, I'm seeing that exact thing. I need to stop on this guy's post and see what he's got. What a micromagnet is and why it works. This is a really good topic. It's actually my topic for this Thursday, and I had no idea that it was going to come up in this, but this Thursday, there's a paid community session that I run every Thursday morning. And the thing that we're dealing with this Thursday is micromagnets and how to get people engaged on that. A better way to move cold connections to warm conversations. These are all things that we help people with. And this thing has limited understanding of what exactly my business is, right? Other than, the fact that I fed in my ICP. When it's time to stop guessing and build a real content system. This is something, I mean, I got approached on this one this week. So I got an actual message from an actual buying client. Hey, I don't understand how to build a real content system. Can you help me overcome this issue that I see? I don't know how to build and load a content calendar. And so that's what that is. And so now I'm going to prove the strategy. And what it's going to do next is it's going to start working on those posts, right? So the next step is it starts working on the posts. The last piece that it does in here that you're not really going to see until I sort of scroll through things is the image prompt. So for each post, it is creating an image prompt for each post. And the whole idea around that was I wanted to give you a way that you can actually, have real images for these posts, right? I don't want you to have to fight your way through and figure it out. I want you to get an actual real image post. What should that image for each one of your posts look like so that you wind up with something that at the end of the day is a real thing? I want you to wind up with real potential posts and a real ability to leverage this stuff. So let me share my screen here and I'll show you what it comes up with, right? So it went through and it's created posts for top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And it's done it in that order: top of funnel, and then you got middle of funnel, and then bottom of funnel, right? So this is what I was saying before that I would restructure. If you're going to post these, I would mix them up so that it's on one day it's top of funnel, the next day is middle of funnel, the next day is bottom of funnel, and mix them up a little bit. And the way the percentages are broken out is it's 50, 30, 20. So 50% of the posts are top of funnel, and we do that on purpose because you should be giving a lot more than you're asking to take. 30% are going to be middle of funnel, and 20% are going to be bottom of the funnel, like trying to get people into the bottom of your funnel. Okay. So let me also show you as I go through, here's how they're structured. You have a hook right here. Your best buyer may not even know that you exist. Your post copy is your next buyer can't choose you if they can't find you. So this is your post copy, the main body of it. Over here, if you want to include hashtags, there's a lot of debate about should you or should you not include hashtags. Totally up to you. A lot of times I don't include them, to be honest. I don't find that they help all that often. But if somebody's searching for B2B growth and they forget the space, they're going to find your tag. So, I mean, it depends on, what you're doing it for. Content strategy, if I put that in as a search term and I forget the space in there, I'm going to find your post most likely. And then right here, you could see create a modern, bold business graphic showing a strong company hidden behind a dark curtain while buyers walk past towards a brighter, visible competitors, blah, blah, blah. So this is the image prompt. This would have to come out if I was going to use this in GoHighLevel, by the way. So this is not a part of their template, but I like to have this in there so that way it, is really clear. The other thing is that you need to also include your CTA. So this is the link for the CTA. Like I said before, I would probably post this as a follow-up. The thing I was going to say is that you need to have a place where you're including the thumbnail URL, because inside of the spreadsheet or whatever, the CSV file that you upload to one of these platforms, you can't include images. So you're going to have to create individually all of the images like this. And then once you have the images, then you upload them to a platform. This is what I was saying before. And so let me just sort of grab this image and I'm going to download this to my computer because I want to be able to show you all of this step by step. Like, how would I do this for this one? And then I'm just going to say, can you give me text for the post in? And you could do this lots of different ways. You're going to see me individually create a post here, but I mean, there's lots of ways to create this kind of post for anybody that needs a post. So I've come back to my social calendar and pulled that up right here. So got new post. I'm going to say create new post. Now inside of GoHighLevel, they have a way to generate using AI your social posts. I personally would not do that. And here's the reason why. I believe as a part of this that one of the key things in creating these posts is that they need to focus top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. They need to do that. They also should have your manifesto, meaning what are the things that I do to serve customers? What is it that I don't do? And this is something a manifesto very clearly typically does. What are the things that I don't do? And then what are the things that only I can claim? What are the things that only I have lived, the experiences I have had, all of those kinds of things. And that's important from my standpoint, that whatever is writing these posts, to prevent them from being AI slop, they need to have that built in there. And what you'd see here is that, like, hey, create me a post, blah, blah, blah. I could say created a top of funnel post, and you're going to do it one by one. You saw what I just did, and I created 30 days worth of content all at once. And right now, inside of GoHighLevel, as beautiful as this tool is, you can't do it. So I came in here. You see I've got all my social platforms connected. Just for now, I've just picked LinkedIn, right? So that's what I've got here. And now I'm going to come back to our little chat window for this post. And here you go. Your best buyer may not even know that you exist. And then here's here's everything essentially together. So I'm going to grab all of that, and then I'm going to go paste that back into GoHighLevel. So let's grab this tab. There we go. So I've got the foundations of a post over here, right? So I want to be careful. I don't want that link inside of the post, right? So I'm going to come back to here and I'm going to pull it back out. If your business is better visibility, blah, 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 all of this, I'm going to remove that. And right here's a follow-up comment. I'm going to paste it right there. So now you can see it down here at the bottom. That's a follow-up comment. So the very first comment will be that. Now, the next thing I need to do is I got to go back and add the image. So what I need to do for that, I can create an AI image right here inside the platform, or I can upload it from media storage. Now, whenever I load this, what I'm going to have to do is I have to upload that file that I downloaded to my computer. I'm going to have to, come back and grab that image, right? So I've got that image. It's right here. I'm going to open that image. I need to see where it loads, which is right here. There's the image. I double clicked it and there it is inside of my post. So within, I don't know what that would have been, I don't know, a minute, I essentially had everything I need. Now it looks to me like there's maybe some cleanup I need to do because I see the little red dashes here. So here's what I like to do for my posts. Your buyer may not even know that you exist, bold. And then right here is that's the problem. I pull that back. And the reason why is because look at this. Over here is the fold. This is how it's going to display on LinkedIn. And you want to make sure that this stuff stands out because if you don't make it stand out, I guarantee you people are going to just keep on scrolling and not even think about you one bit, right? Visibility is not built by one random post. Let's just add that. And I'm going to also italicize that. So there we go. And you can see it says undefined right here. So I'm going to remove the word undefined. I don't know why that error comes up. I've seen that before, but and there's that. And then it looks to me like what this needs is a combination of spaces and not spaces. So let me just sort of do that and needs another space. And so there we go. In less than an hour, not only did I teach you the process, I ran the prompt, I created the posts, I created an image, and I've got at least one post, right here. So how does this get scheduled? Well, if I want to post it right now, I can click post right now. I could save it for later and I come back, it'll be a draft then if I save it for later. If I click on schedule post, I could pick any time that I want to post it. You could see somebody was showing me this. One of my clients actually showed me this recently where I could schedule something as a reoccurring post. If I know that this thing is got to run every day at, I don't know, 12 p.m., then, I could set it, and forget it, right? I could essentially set it to as a rescheduled post. I'm going to just post this now because realistically, I mean, this one can go out the way it is. If I wanted it to be a poll or anything like that, I could do that. I could post the photos as a PDF. This is great for carousels, by the way. So for anybody that is interested in creating carousels and having like those images or those little ebooks that people can go get, this is a great way to do that. And yeah, hopefully this, is something that looks interesting to you. If you're interested at all in high level, we use GoHighLevel as a tool. And I tell people this all the time, like we have a multitude of tools. Some of them I have built, some are built in HighLevel, some are built using HighLevel itself. And so all of that kind of stuff happens inside of my agency. And it's one reason why people normally engage with us versus other people, because whenever they come, they're like, man, look at the tool set that I have here. They don't just have a hammer, right? So I'm not showing up just with HighLevel and offering HighLevel the way it is out of the box. I normally come and teach people how to do these sorts of things in my community. The second part is if you are interested in having somebody do this for you, and build a real implementation system that helps your business grow, then that is really what we do. I mean, that's primarily where we started, was focused on businesses and how do we help them grow. And then we started with the typical areas I would say that most digital agencies did. So I help a business grow, and then we focused on websites and content and all the stuff that digital marketing agencies do. And eventually our clients were saying, yeah, but I need to build this into something. I can't just have traffic to my website, thousands of visits. I got to actually turn this into real buyers and real traffic for my business. So we sort of, continued to evolve throughout time. And that's where it's led us today, is that, look, we build these growth systems where we sit down with people and go, how do you attract the right buyer? How do you then shape the things that you're currently offering so that you've got the right offers and pricing in place? There's a partner of ours that does all of that. And then once she's done, then we sort of help them build that out into, okay, so how do I build a real growth system for my business and have that in place so that I can catch people and then keep those people in my sphere until they turn into educated buyers of whatever your solution is. We primarily deal in the high tech and life sciences space, but we certainly, reach outside of those boundaries as well. We just got hired by a company that focuses primarily in on HR, and then we've got a couple of different authors in the group, and continue to just grow the group overall of people that we're offering our solutions to. So if this is of interest to you at all, the links will be below this video to show you how to engage. And hopefully this has been helpful to everybody that is watching, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Hey, if you're liking this content, please do me a favor and click that like button for me. Also, please consider subscribing to the channel. And lastly, below this video, you will find a link to my free Skool community where I place all of the assets for all of the videos that I create. So please do those three things for me. Click like, click subscribe, and make sure that you join us in the free Skool community because I have lots of resources over there that I frequently do not post on YouTube. So please do me a favor and join us in Skool, and we will make sure that you get all of the assets plus all of the bonuses that I add to every single video, PDFs, GPTs, all of those sorts of things. Thanks a lot.